what's up everyone? Welcome back to the Weekly Marmot. My name is Lore as usual, and this week I've got a few things to talk about actually. We're going to be talking about the Cataclysm talents, which actually did go into the beta last week, so going to be able to give some first impressions on those, as well as the Twitter Blizz chat thing that went on this last week as well. There was a whole bunch of new information in that, so I'm going to be talking about that as well. But first I have a funny story to share. So, I mentioned a couple weeks ago that my wedding ring fell off in a lake while I was out swimming for the 4th of July weekend, and that was bad. But of course, as soon as I said that, a whole bunch of people kind of made the connection of wedding ring fell off in a lake, Lore looks kind of like a hobbit, Lord of the Rings joke. So those have been flying at me ever since like crazy. So here we go. I'm going to add to the pot again. As some of you may have already guessed, I do in fact have a new wedding ring. It is fantastic. I like it very much. But when I ordered it, the jeweler, they originally told me I was going to be in 2 to 3 days, because they had to get it like specially made or something, I don't know. They said it was going to be in 2 to 3 days, and they actually called me on the 3rd day and said, okay, we're actually back ordered, we're not going to be able to get it for you until the end of the month. So I was all like disappointed and everything and whatever. But then the next day they called me and said, okay, your ring's in, come on pick it up. And I was like, what? So apparently what happened is the company was calling them to tell them that if they ordered any more, that they would be back ordered, but they were actually able to ship mine out. So that's great, and I got my wedding ring and everything, but then I kind of had to think about it for a minute. If they were back ordered after my ring got sent out, that means they only had one left of my ring. Meaning there was only one of my ring. Which pretty much means that I am now the bearer of the one ring. So, yeah, have fun with that one, Internet. So, jumping into today's topics, first I'm going to talk a little bit about the talents that we've been able to see in the Cataclysm beta so far, or what we can see of them. If you caught last week's episode, I talked a little bit and did some speculation about what I think the direction they're trying to take with the talents is, and basically what they're trying to accomplish with this whole talent revamp. And if you've seen the new talents, they've kind of missed that mark on a whole lot of points. But I don't really think that means that they're not aiming for anything that I said last week. In fact, I'm pretty sure every single point I made last week still stands. It's just a beta. So basically what I wanted to mention in this week's episode is their beta talents. They kind of wanted to just throw those out there to, you know, let everybody get a chance to mess around with them a little bit, get an idea for what direction they still need to take with everything, and start actually working on them from somewhere, just to have a starting point. I don't think that they're completely abandoning their idea of not having any mandatory talents, or having mandatory talents but having more options or everything. I don't think they're abandoning any of that. I think they just need some time to get there still, and they still need to mess with stuff. A lot of people have been speculating that perhaps this was an idea that they had all along and they were just waiting until now to put it out for some reason. Wouldn't be surprised if this was an idea that they had kicking around for a while. I think they just wanted to see if they could get there first with the other talent system, with the old talent system, without having to go through and basically hack the entire thing apart. But then when they realized that they just weren't accomplishing what they wanted to do with that system, then they said, okay, well, let's go with the other system where we hack everything down a bunch and we make the trees much, much smaller and more manageable and easier to deal with. So I still think that they are definitely going in all the directions that I talked about last week, if you want to watch last week's episode and get what all of that is. It's just, you know, it's a beta. They want to be able to test some stuff, and they want to have a starting point from where they can go from. So that's my opinion of where the Cataclysm beta talents stand at the moment. Alright, moving on from there, I want to talk a little bit about the Blizzard Twitter Blizz chat, Blizzard Twitter talkie chat thing that they had last week. Honestly, there were a ton of questions that were asked and a ton of questions that were answered in this whole thing that they had. It was really just, it's probably the most that we've ever gotten out of one of these Blizzard chat things so far. I definitely recommend that you go and read it. The link should still be on the front page of TankSpot by the time this goes up. If not, then just dig around in there a little bit, or you can go over and check out the write-up that my bestest best friends in the whole wide world over at Wowhead have up, because it's fantastic as well and just goes through everything. Or just go to the general forums, the official general forums. I think it's on there as well. But yeah, there was a whole bunch of information that came out there. Probably the biggest announcement in the whole bunch, and I may be a little bit biased in saying this, but the biggest announcement in the whole bunch was the announcement of Holy Power for Paladins. right? This is a new resource that's being added for paladins in the expansion. It sounds pretty fantastic. So here's how it works. Basically, you have a little thing right underneath your little unit frame up there that indicates your holy power. I'm guessing it's going to be kind of similar to the new Eclipse bar for Balanced Druids, or the Soul Shard bar for Warlocks. It's a little UI thing that shows you exactly what it is, exactly how much holy power you have. You can have up to 3 holy power, and you generate that through a handful of different means. I think Holy Shock does it, Crusader Strike does it, and there might be some more, I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see when it gets into beta, but the idea is you generate your holy power through these various different means, and then you use it on something cool, okay? So there's like an instant heal that holy can use. It's called Last Word or something like that, I think. I don't actually remember it off the top of my head, which is because I'm awful at this. But yeah, there's this instant heal that you can use. For Retribution, there is a pretty big new attack called Templar's Verdict. I believe they said up to, with 3 stacks of holy power, that will do 225% weapon damage, which is pretty freaking huge when you've got a nice 2-hander on you, so that's a lot of damage. And then there's also a short duration buff. Well, I don't know the duration on it, but there's a buff that increases your holy damage done, which seems like it'll be useful for both Retribution and Protection. And they were also saying something about being able to extend the duration of Holy Shield with it as well. So really, it's just kind of something that you get thrown in there. Well, let me put it this way. Basically, the way it'll work out as Retribution, instead of having this button that's always there and it's just like, okay, well, I'm not on cooldown of anything. I want to be able to push a button to make my damage do something, because no damage is better than, or is worse than, whatever measly damage I can get from pressing Consecrate or whatever. Instead of just having this system where you always want to be using your GCD regardless, no matter what, it kind of leads you into this system where you want to be a little bit more careful about using your GCDs. You don't want to just press Templar's Verdict when you've only got 1 holy power, because it's better to let it stack up to 3 before you use it. And likewise, it does also increase the damage of Divine Storm, which means that it's actually bad to use Divine Storm in your single target rotation, because you'll be eating up your holy power and not being able to use it on Templar's Verdict in that case. And it's just really interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it ends up working out with Holy, because there's really only one thing that they want to use it on, so it may just end up being this, you know, Holy Shock, 6 seconds later Holy Shock, 6 seconds later Holy Shock, last word sort of thing. Or, you know, for Protection, it'll be interesting to see just exactly how it messes with it, but I cannot wait to mess with it in beta. It sounds like a lot of fun, and really just something that the Paladin class desperately needs to sort of make us think a little bit more about which buttons we're pushing. But yeah, like I said, there is a whole lot of information in this Blizzard Talk Twitter chat talk, Twitter Blizz Talk thing that they did, so definitely go and read that if you are at all interested in stuff, like I said. That's going to be it for this week. Thanks very much for watching. As usual, if you would like to send me any sort of question or whatever, the best way to do that is through TankSpot. Send me a private message. The username there is Lore, L-O-R-E. It's real simple. I really haven't been able to get through to respond to a whole lot of them lately, and I apologize for that. But I do, on the plus side, have about a billion questions in there for future episodes of the Weekly Marmot, so you never have to worry about me not having something to talk about. But on the same note, if you think that your question could be better than anyone else's, then definitely go and send it to me, because I do go back and read through them. And I try to read every single one of them, even if I can't respond to all of them. You can also follow me on Twitter. My username there is Devolore, D-E-V-O-L-O-R-E. Definitely follow me there. I have some cool new projects coming up that I'm working on that I will be letting you know about through my Twitter, so definitely follow me there. You can also catch me when I'm streaming. I've been streaming some guild raids recently, as well as when I've been playing StarCraft 2, which the beta is down now, so I'm super sad, but it'll be back up when the game actually releases, and there will be more StarCraft 2 on there, so definitely follow me on Twitter if you are at all interested in anything I have to say. Yeah, I think that's pretty much my spiel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.